you're welcome back. The program is still Young Hearts on the NTA network. As we mentioned earlier, we have an amazing young entrepreneur who won an African award, and we're here to introduce him to you. He's here with us live on the studio. His name is SULEIMAN YUSUF. He's the CEO of Blue Camel Energies, and he's here with us today.
The Entrepreneur of the Year West Africa, presented by Lagos State, is SULEIMAN YUSUF.
You're welcome on the program. So tell us about the Entrepreneurship Award you were just given as a result of your endeavors.
Very interesting. Sometimes recently, just a couple of months ago, I got a request from the AABLA, that's the All Africa Business Leaders Award, to send in, some information concerning our activities. I didn't take them seriously, but somehow I think they had that we probably developed the first off-grid apartment, and they probably went through our profile and realized that we've been doing so many interesting things in the entrepreneurship, field. So they contacted me to send in my, certain informations, which I did. And to my surprise, I was invited to as a finalist in the category of Entrepreneur of the Year, African Entrepreneur of the Year. So we're in Lagos at a hotel, and that event took place where I unexpectedly, well, not unexpectedly, but I was actually excited to, to be called and given that award for the Entrepreneur of the Year West Africa. So that's in recognition of our achievement in the industry. While we're doing what we're doing, some people have actually been watching closely, and they've been able to give us this award. I was quite happy to be recognized together with the likes of Dangote, the likes of Abdul Samad, the owner of Boa, the likes of the MD of the CEO of Stanbic IBTC Bank. The success story of Blue Camel is a story of a joint venture capitalist, somebody who saw the idea, who believed in it, and then who invested the small money, of about 5 million naira at that time, and that investment is worth about 90 million naira just within 6 years in terms of the share, equity that belongs to that investment. So we encourage Nigerians who have already made the money, but let them look back at the teeming youth and let them put back some of this money into investments that will generate employment opportunities. At least the money will have been seen to be doing something.
Okay. Now tell us about the organizers so that we can further appreciate the magnitude of what was given to you, of what you won.
Before now, I barely knew anything about the organizers of this award. I know that Forbes magazine, is quite very well appreciated across the African, scene, and I also know about the CNBC, the South African, TV channel that reports mostly on businesses across Africa called CNBC. Now ABA is the body that, worked together with CNBC to organize this event. I think this is the sixth time, this event is being organized, and award is being given to, Nigerians who have achieved, quite much. Not just Nigerian, it's in categories. So we have the West African, the East African, and then the South African category. It's probably the highest level of recognition of entrepreneurship that is available for the peaks in our sub-region.
So tell us about the other contestants, where they're from, which other countries, and how was the experience like, being chosen despite the many other qualified entrepreneurs that you're up against?
Well, for me, I think that for anybody who actually got nominated as a finalist is actually a winner. For an entrepreneur to get to that level, we're celebrating all the winners at the same time. But, it was only after, I were invited for the gala night where the eventual winners will be announced, that I started researching who the other contestants were, and I realized that, you know, the people who have achieved so much, you know, as young men, you know, wonderful entrepreneurs who have kept a lot of people on the job, you know. I researched and found out that there is Paul Rajaka in my own category, who is the founder of Alden Limited, and another Wale, is it Wale for Forum or something like that, who is also he's the CEO of Neptune's Advisory. You know, I went to research these companies and I realized that they're very successful companies with much higher, you know, they've grown in their own part as well.
We'd like you to give a word to the young entrepreneurs and youth in Nigeria.
The youth bulge. Nigerians are very hardworking, extremely entrepreneurial, but unfortunately, the enabling environment is not very much available. Nigeria is ranked number 140 or thereabout out of 180 in the world in terms of difficulty of doing business. The government definitely has a lot to do to correct that, to improve that. And what are the 3 key areas where we have a lot of difficulty in doing business or in starting up? Number 1, we have difficulty with infrastructure. So any little business you want to do, even a barbing salon business, you are forced to start thinking of power. And you share your profit with your generator. That's 1. So infrastructure is very key all along almost every sector you think about. Number 2, we have the problem of financing. The only kind of financing we have for starters in Nigeria is go to the bank, bring the CFO of your house in Abuja or Port Harcourt, you know, and then they give you this money at 25% interest rate. And the third factor is bureaucratic settings. Government itself, for you to register a company in Nigeria, there are so many bureaucracies. For you to bring in a foreign investor into Nigeria to come and partner with you to do something, there are so many procedures, difficulties. So if all these things can be looked at, if you are importing something into the country, so many customs wahala. If you want to import something out of the country, so many documentations. All these things are making it extremely difficult for businesses to grow. We have to face the reality. On a global scale, on the national level, things are getting more difficult. Gone are those days when oil was available freely and sold in Nigeria and the money was being shared and everybody got his share one way or the other and things were easy. The reality now is we have more difficult times ahead and our youth really, really need to wake up. It doesn't just happen by accident. You just have to wake up, think outside the box and be ready to use your head and your hands to work. So that's the word I have for the youth.
Thank you so much for being with us on the program. We hope to hear more from you and congratulations on the award you received. And now that concludes our interview with Mr. SULEIMAN YUSUF, the recipient of the African Business Leaders Award for West Africa. Now don't go anywhere. This is still Young Hearts on the NTA network. Stay right there. We'll be right back.